Now, a fitness expert from Connington is looking for somewhere for people to get together to lift weights and boost their mental health. Liam Baker runs a fitness studio in Sawtry with his partner Abby and holds events all over the country called Deadlifts Over Depression. An event in Sawtry in June raised £3,000 for CPSL Mind, a mental health charity with offices in Peterborough and Cambridge. Liam is with us this morning. Hello.
Good morning, Dotty.
Thank you for joining me, and thank you for not being a snake.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fantastic to not be the most intimidating thing this morning, so...
Yeah, how are you with snakes? I hadn't kind of appreciated that maybe that could be quite an intimidating for you, sitting in the office as well.
I'll be honest, I was more scared of being on air than of the snake, so it kind of just went past me.
You've got nothing to be afraid of from me. I'm not a constrictor. Talk about Deadlifts Over Depression. What is that?
So Deadlifts Over Depression, it all started by a man called Danny Brumpton, who started the movement of creating these lovely T-shirts that said Deadlifts Over Depression on them. From there, I bought a lot of them and then said, Danny, I'd like to create an event out of these. And he went, yeah, sure, no problem. Very laid back guy is Danny. And he said, yeah, crack on, do what you want to do with it. Obviously, just come to me if there's anything you need. So I set up the first one in 2022. And then from there, I raised £500 with 6 weeks' notice because I was still going through quite a manic phase myself. And then, yeah, in year 2, after that one, I went, I could do way better than that if I've got more than 6 weeks to plan it. And then we did year number 2 in my home village of Sawtry. And that was almost like my breakout party of, look, I'm going to be really open locally with my mental health. Before that, I was probably quite cagey about it and not wanting it to affect my career prospects and things like that. But now I realise the power is in talking about it, and these events bring those people together. And yeah, we raised £3,000. We had to cap the amount of entrants we had last year, which is why this year I'm trying to find a larger venue. And yeah, when it's a totally non-for-profit, so we don't make a single penny out of the event, every penny goes to CPSL Mind, and it allows us then to really give back, but also create a day where it's very free flow. So the event itself is made up of 5 event stations where you will learn how to lift. So if you're a complete beginner...
Well, yeah, because we should maybe say the word deadlift, it sounds quite intimidating, but it's just a type of like movement, weightlifting move, isn't it? You start with the barbell, the big weight at your feet, and then you lift it up to kind of your waist.
Yeah, with your straight arms, and obviously you hinge at the hips, and it's not a scary movement. It just sounds worse than it is. So yeah, it's just one of those things where we set up the 5 event stations. Deadlifts is obviously one of them. We start with a deadlift at the beginning, and then you finish with a team deadlift bar at the end. Now the synergy between that and mental health is just outstanding, because what it allows you the opportunity to do is realise that when you're over on the first bar on your own, you lifted 100 kg and you thought, oh, that was a bit tricky, I don't know if I could do any more than that. Then you'll get to the team deadlift bar where you're working with somebody, you'll be stood next to that person, and you then get the opportunity to lift with them. Now 100 flies up, yes, but it's really awkward to begin with until you start talking. And that's the whole synergy with mental health, where then once you start talking and you realise, actually, if we talk together and we communicate and open this up, we can share the load and this will fly up even quicker. And then that 100 becomes 120, 130, 140, and then before you realise it, you're lifting heavier weights because you've shared the load with somebody. And that's that whole message around mental health is, once you start sharing the load, you really can do more. And that's why, again, I'm very proud to be talking about my story now and being able to, turn my trauma into a triumph and sort of move forward and hopefully inspire others to keep talking and keep wearing these Deadlifts Over Depression T-shirts in their local gym, because what you're doing is you're opening everyone's eyes to the fact that there's no stigma to depression, and you should be able to wear a T-shirt that says depression on it and be proud.
And you've mentioned, you referred to being in quite a manic phase at one point. Mm-hmm. You've talked about speaking openly about your own mental health challenges, and you just used the word trauma. Just tell us a little bit about your own mental health background. Yeah,
so 3 years ago it got really bad, to the point where I didn't want to be here anymore. I won't go too dark into that, but even my closest friends and family didn't even know. It wasn't until the day after, when obviously it came out and people started to realise what I'd done, that I then had to be honest. I had to talk to people. I was sleeping next to my wife and I didn't even tell her. And, I'd been going through this battle on my own internally for 3-4 years where, I just didn't like what I was doing, didn't like who I was as a person, but I wasn't able to vocalise it. And now I'm in a different position. So part of the sort of depression for me was feeling like I wasn't giving back and feeling like I didn't achieve, which is where fitness comes in. And fitness really helped my mindset, because what it does is it gives you achievable goals. So in terms of when you go to the gym, for example, it's not about lifting the heaviest weight in the gym, it's about lifting the heaviest you've ever done. And that's part of, for me, what I had to learn was all of that. And then also feeling quite selfish, because I was working in a corporate world. I had a lovely car, nice money, but I wasn't doing enough to give back. So when I had my trauma, I went, you know what? Whatever I do next as a business, as a career, I'm going to give back. So we now give. So for Bud's Fitness, who's the company me and my wife run from Sawtry, we donate 5% of our total turnover before we've even started. So before we've done anything. So like whenever we do sales, whenever we work out the profit of what we're doing in terms of, you know, the one-to-ones or the fitness classes, 5% comes straight out and goes to CPSL Mind. Because again, part of my journey and my wife supporting me through that journey was, without charities like Mind, I wouldn't be here today. So we want to be able to give that back and make sure that these services can keep providing that lovely support and that guidance for people who are going through this challenging time. So yeah, by doing that, and then obviously doing the events as well, we're then starting to realise something really sort of powerful, which is great.
What do you think stops us from talking about our mental health when it's really bad? Because I struggle with this as well. You know, sometimes at the times when I've needed most help in my life, are the times when I haven't reached out.
Yeah.
And then something will happen that really forces the issue, which is obviously what happened in your case. What do you think it is that makes us stay quiet?
It's a perception, isn't it? And it's where you think people are going to judge you for it, or people are going to think, oh, Dotty's not successful, or Dotty's not doing what she wants. It's not true. It's in our heads. The reality is, if you're more open about it, then you're going to be able to get the help that you need to then keep pushing forward and keep driving on. Whereas if you internalize it, you don't then vocalize it, and then it's just all thoughts in your head. And my therapist always says to me, thoughts are not facts. And I've got that written on my wall in my office, and I read it every day. And it's so true. If you don't vocalize it, therefore it's just a thought. And if it's just a thought, it stays in there and you can't shift it. You can't move it on your own. And as with the metaphor for the team deadlift bar, once you start sharing that load, it will make it much easier. But it is that perception piece. All too often people think, oh, it makes me look weaker. Well, Tyson Fury's the world heavyweight champion of the world, and he suffered with mental health. There's rugby players coming out now all over the country talking about their mental health. There was a footballer in Delhi Ali a couple of weeks ago who started being very open with his mental health. And I'm hoping, again, just, you know, I'm not a celebrity or a sports elite sports person, but
not yet, Liam.
Not yet. So, but what's nice is I've got a voice and I'm willing to talk about it. And if you looked at me and you looked at me with my family, you wouldn't think that I was somebody that suffers with mental health. But because I'm open about it and because I talk about it, it then gives the conversation legs and people are more likely to open up to me. Our private fitness studio is that for a purpose. So what we do is that allows people that safe place to talk. It means they can train. Like we have a big ambition for fitness is for all, and part of the first part of your fitness journey, the thing that will stop you first off is being judged. So again, it's that mental health piece of perception. You don't want to be judged, so you won't go to the gym because you don't know what to wear. You don't want to look stupid trying to lift the weights. So our private fitness studio allows you that space to basically train without judgment. It's a judgment-free area. We shut the door, and once that door is shut, we find that people just open up about their mental health because they're aware of obviously our link with CPSL Mind. They know that we obviously are open to talk about mental health, so then people are more open to talk to us. So not my plea this morning, but the thing that I'd like to get across this morning is if you talk about it, people will come to you and talk about theirs as well, and then that just opens a conversation more and more. Whereas potentially if you've been in that environment where you haven't talked before, that's where it then becomes bottlenecked and you're like,
yeah.
And then, the lid comes off the bottle and emotions come out. So whereas if you talk little and often about it, it's like anything, it's much, much more freeing.
Give us the date when you're looking for a venue and give us a few more details about like what you need.
So at this moment in time, I've just signed off Scotland. That's going to happen on the 31st of March. I'm in talks with I can't say too much, but someone in Yorkshire, which will be massive for us as well. That will be in May, so it'll be July that we're looking for the venue, and we're just looking for a nice sized venue that can allow us to run these 5 stations, but do so in a way that gives us free space and gives us parking for people to turn up and be able to obviously park their cars, but also place for us to have spectators, because this whole day relies on people being open, and if people aren't coming to see it, aren't coming to watch it, then we don't raise the money that we did this year. So yeah, a huge part of that whole piece is just having a venue that's big enough, that's affordable enough for us to be able to, because again, as I say, anything we pay out on venues comes out of the total profit that we can then make from the event. So, and that is the huge cost factor outside of that, because the coaches are fantastic. They all give their time for free. I said it at the beginning of the last one, if I'd have paid for each of those personal trainers to be there personally for the full day, I'd have spent $5,000 before I even started. So the fact that they give me their time to do these events with me is fantastic, and as I say, that's part of why these events are so profitable and work.
If you can help this man, if you can help Liam from Sawtry, then call us at BBC Radio Cambridgeshire, 08000 85 95 96. We can pass your details on, or you can text 81333 and start your message CAM. You can also find his business, Bud's Fitness, online. Liam, thank you so much for coming in to talk to us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Liam Baker there from Sawtry. If you have been affected by any of the issues that we've been discussing, you can always contact CPSL Mind on 0300 303 4363. Their lines are open 9:30 to 5:30. The Samaritans are there for you 24/7 on 116 123. And you can also find lots of other resources online if you look at the BBC's Action Line website.